Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Health 360. Early dinner by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Is that for you? Why is there a red flag on energy drinks? How can one prevent breast cancer or detect this most common type of cancer early? Is raw milk for your skin a good or a bad choice? This week, Health 360 is focusing on the biggest trending health and wellness stories from India and outside. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360, and these are the viral trends in health and wellness this week. Early dinners are quickly becoming the option for many. Dinner as early as 5 p.m. is a host of benefits, or is it just hearsay? It's just a fad. We asked the experts and put together this report for you. Do you ever feel extremely energetic, less bloated, and very good? You sleep well if you have dinner 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Well, that feeling is actually rooted in science. Well, if you're having dinner even by 5 o'clock sometimes, it helps your body and your mind. Experts say it's extremely beneficial, and this is something that a lot of people nowadays have started to do. Eating earlier allows your digestive system more time to break down and absorb nutrients before you sleep, reducing the risk of indigestion or acid reflux. Eating early gives your body enough time to digest, preventing discomfort or disturbances during sleep, which leads to deeper, more restful sleep.
There are now a lot of research to say that following the body circadian rhythm, which says that in the morning, the certain hormones like insulin are much more active, and post 6 o'clock, there are certain hormones, specifically like your melatonin and all, become active. So if you are eating through the night, the melatonin level decreases, and that obviously disrupts your sleep. Whereas on the other hand, if you can eat an early dinner and then go on a fasting, the melatonin increases in your body level, and that can actually induce a very good sleep.
It helps with weight management.
If you eat an early dinner, obviously you are into a long fasting period. So what has been seen is that over a period of time, the binging goes down. So therefore, intake of the so-called high calorie and the processed food is much less. Second, we also get to see that when you eat an early dinner, the insulin sensitivity improves and the resistance goes down, which is a very important factor in weight gain. And third is, of course, the digestion is much more improved. So doing an early dinner, and ideally the quality of the dinner should be very much looked into, which is like a high protein with high fiber, that will actually aid in a better digestion and also look into a weight loss.
Eating earlier in the evening aligns with your body's natural circadian rhythm, helping your metabolism to function more efficiently and burn calories more effectively. It regulates blood sugar levels.
When you have an early dinner, the insulin sensitivity improves, the resistance goes down, and also because you're having an early dinner, the binging which happens during the night will actually stop. So in the long run, there'll be a better sugar control, there'll be a weight loss also, and the insulin sensitivity will improve.
It improves mental clarity, allows your body to focus on repair and rejuvenation rather than using energy to digest your food, leading to better mental clarity the next day. It enhances nutrient absorption because with more time between meals, your body can better absorb the nutrients from your dinner.
So when we have an early dinner, it has been seen that over a period of time, the binging of food, which is generally seen during late nights, and the kind of food usually people binge is usually the very high calorie foods and the processed foods. So over a period of time, if you get into a disciplined kind of diet wherein you try to have your dinner by around 7:38, you will see that the amount of binging will go down, and hence the overeating would definitely go down.
Having an early dinner fosters a consistent eating schedule, which can improve overall health by promoting regularity in your eating habits. Well, having a well-balanced meal, which has all the nutrients, vitamins, it has a probiotic, it has salad, it has what you require early in the evening, which is your last meal of the day, is going to prevent this temptation to reach out for unhealthy snacks, for salty or sugary items. That is a temptation that you clearly can resist. It will not lead to midnight hunger pangs. Trust us in that. Punjab has recently banned energy drinks near schools and school canteens. Not just Punjab, there is chatter across on the adverse impacts that these drinks have. So why the red flag, and should you be consuming these energy drinks? We'll separate the fact from the fiction and tell you what the truth is. This is a popular energy drink. This drink is supposed to give you the wings. But it also makes you fall with a thud. These drinks, when consumed indiscriminately, can spell serious trouble. Recent reports indicate serious side effects due to overconsumption of energy drinks, like the death of this 28-year-old fitness enthusiast who was said to be hooked to it.
It is very important to understand the nutritional composition or what are the ingredients which are added into the can. Most of the time, whenever we see the ingredients, it is loaded with a lot of caffeine to the tune of almost about 50 milligrams to almost as high as 300 milligrams. And also there would be some sugar added, either in the form of the normal sugars, which is again maybe as high as almost 50 grams, or it can be in terms of a natural sweeteners or the sweeteners which we have in the market. Now, these ingredients do have an impact on the health over a period of time. So, I would not say that it will lead to the death, but definitely taking them over a period of time will impact the health in terms of your heart health, in terms of the gut health, definitely gets affected taking these cans for a longer period of time.
Energy drinks like these contain excessive sugar, excessive caffeine, and artificial flavors which are terrible for your health.
The most important ingredient which is there in the energy drink is caffeine. Now we know when caffeine taken within the permissible limit is absolutely safe and can be taken on a regular basis, but when it is being taken on a very high amount, and usually when we see in the cans the amount is as high as about 300. The ADAs and the FDAs have given an upper limit of not taking caffeine more than 400 milligrams in a day, and that definitely has an effect on the health. So therefore one should be very, very careful in taking the quantity which they are taking, and also read onto the labels to see exactly the amount of caffeine which is present in them.
Well, here are a few reasons why they can be bad for your health. Energy drinks often contain large amounts of caffeine, which can lead to dehydration, increased heart rate, high blood pressure. Overconsumption can cause anxiety, insomnia, and in extreme cases, heart problems.
So when caffeine taken within the range as permitted by the FDA and the FSSAI and the IDAs, what we see is that they are in fact good and do not cause any harm. But when taken in excess amount, can have various effects in the body. So first being, it affects the heart health. So we do get to see in a higher amount of palpitations, arrhythmias, which are very, very common when somebody is taking excess amount of caffeine. Also, it has been seen that taking excess amount of caffeine can cause anxieties, can cause a lot of depressions, and also it might shows the high peaks and the lows in one's behavior. So one should be very much aware of the amount which is being taken on a daily basis, and if taken within the permissible limit, it's not a problem at all.
Many energy drinks are loaded with sugar that contributes to weight gain, increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, and can lead to tooth decay. In rare but serious cases, these drinks can contribute to irregular heartbeats or even heart attacks, particularly in those with underlying heart conditions or when combined with alcohol or other stimulants. Caffeine can also disrupt your system for many hours. Consuming energy drinks too late in the day can interfere with your ability to sleep, leading to a cycle of fatigue. Caffeine can have a diuretic effect, which increases the need to urinate, can lead to dehydration. Many people don't realize how much caffeine and sugar they're consuming in a single serving. Multiple energy drinks in a day can push you beyond safe limits for caffeine intake. It can push up sugar levels in the young.
Most of the energy drinks which are available are loaded with sugar, and the amount of sugar in a can be as high as almost about 50 grams, which is equivalent to almost 10 teaspoons of sugar. So if somebody is consuming one can, they're probably taking about 10 teaspoons of sugar. Also, in case if they are not loaded with sugar, they actually are replaced with artificial sweeteners, and we know for sure that artificial sweeteners, if taken for a longer period of time, have a great impact on the health of an individual. Specifically, now there are research to show that it has a direct impact on the gut health. So one needs to be careful when taking these energy drinks, both in terms of simple sugars or replaced by the artificial sugars. Both would have an ill effect on the health.
Energy drinks can lead to a crash of energy.
But according to the various boards, it has been said that if anybody is taking caffeine, which is more than 400 milligrams per day, it would have a direct impact on the health. And as suggested, mostly the kind of symptoms which are seen is with regards to the heart health. So there's an increased palpitation, arrhythmias, increase in the blood pressure, and also it would have an effect in terms of the mental health. There is too much of anxieties, and it can also lead to depression over a long period of time.
Well, if you want sustainable energy, the solution is not in this can. It is in good hydration, a good diet, and plenty of rest. Did you know that breast cancer is the most treatable yet the most common type of cancer among women in India? But a simple test can help in early detection. 1 in 100 women above the age of 45 in India go for this simple test. That is a mere 1%. So are mammograms risky? What's the problem here? Are they painful? Why are women avoiding them? We'll tell you more in this report. Back to the battle. That's how Tahira Kashyap, author, filmmaker, and wife of actor Ayushmann Khurrana, opened her emotional Instagram post, revealing that her breast cancer has returned. In 2018, she courageously fought through an aggressive form of breast cancer. She was open and outspoken about her journey back then, and she's continuing to share her experience even now. In a most recent post, she has emphasized on the importance of regular mammograms. But the big question is, why are Indian women avoiding mammograms?
First and foremost, breast cancer is the most common cause of death in women in India and also all over the world. Lack of awareness is definitely the first cause that people don't go ahead with screening mammography for breast cancer. Another thing is that, as you know, females generally pay lesser attention to their health in India. She usually keeps her health, her own health, at a backseat. So that is another cause that a female is mammography or cervical cancer screening or other cancer screening or generally other health problems are ignored when it comes to a female.
Fact is that mammograms nowadays are safe, emitting even less radiation than what a small chest X-ray does.
The modern techniques of radiations are very safe. Very little dose of radiation is involved. And nowadays, just to continue, there are many AI-based newer devices are also coming, which are being used for testing, screening, and so far the results are good. Maybe in future they might replace the mammography also. But as of now, mammography is the gold standard. Go get screened and don't fear the radiation.
Experts say mammograms are our best bet to detect this form of cancer.
World over, mammography is a gold standard for screening. But yes, in India, the incidence of the women who are being screened is very low. Probably it's lack of awareness.
So, who should get mammograms done and how frequently?
Every female above the age of 40 has to get a mammography done once in 2 years for sure. If you are at a higher risk of breast cancer, that means that you are BRCA1 or BRCA gene mutation positive, or your sister or your mother has had or any relative has had breast cancer in the past, then you are at a higher risk, then you have to get it done annually.
Why does breast cancer relapse?
So cancer relapse due to secondaries or incomplete treatment or incomplete removal of the cancer cells. So that is the most common cause of this thing, that probably the cancer cells went and got deposited in some part of the body other than the main cancer site. So that those cancer cells will start growing in some other part of the body. So then the cancers will relapse in a secondary form.
Tahira's message is more than just an update on her health. It's a wake-up call for every woman, every daughter, every mother. If you're over 40 or have a family history of breast cancer, talk to your doctor. Schedule that mammogram, because early detection equals protection. It's time for a quick commercial break here on the show. Much more news in just a bit.